Episode 10. Welcome back. To be fair, we've made it. It's a big deal. Namaste, everyone. Welcome back. We are very excited today. Probably a topic that you wanted to discuss. Probably from that pilot episode. I reckon you mentioned it.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it a few times now.
Yeah, I was actually watching that pilot episode a few nights ago, and I think you mentioned that part. So today we are talking... Well, we're discussing a Marxist discourse in society, which you would like.
Well, I think the system that we have right now,
Okay.
you can call it capitalism or whatever you want to call it. I think it's suboptimal.
Okay.
And I think Marxism is the best kind of critique of this. And I think it's important to at least have that discussion.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let people come to their own conclusions.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think at least when you look at the overarching kind of things that have led from capitalism, especially when we talk about, inequity, but then also when we talk about our countries and, from the South Asian kind of sphere, it's so far reaching and just has so many bad implications that I think it's silly not to at least discuss.
Okay. That's what we're doing.
And that's what we're doing.
That's why actually I'd like to just say before, I realised that the name of the channel, to be fair, we thought at the time it just sounded good, right? Like, so we just need a name. But then I realised, it's actually a really good name because we're talking about things that I don't agree with, some, and then you don't agree with, or very different opinions, right? But we're trying to be fair.
Yeah,
I think that's the whole point of this thing, is just to have discussions where you don't want to punch each other in the throat. Like, there is a way to do this.
Exactly.
So
and I think it's going to be interesting today because I know you said you don't watch them like religiously, but I know that you watch Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And, they are very much capitalism, free market, and
very different. What do you
I think Ben Shapiro is a joke. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where we end up.
Yeah. This will be very interesting. How do you want to start? You mentioned that it's far-reaching. It's not in all countries, though. Is there a country that you look at and be like, that model is amazing?
That's a good start, though.
Thank you.
That's a good start because whenever you talk about anti-capitalism or, you think, Marxism or let's have this discourse, people jump to North Korea or China or Venezuela. And
Russia, maybe.
It's not to say that there's a system in place that is already working and it's good and let's use this system. It's the system that we have right now, which is capitalism, is not working out. And I think it's not a fair critique to be like, it's the best system and it's, going to be good forever. I think we need to, at least, like you say, have a discussion, be critical about it, and then just kind of try and come to some sort of conclusions. Yeah,
so you've made a fair point about there actually no being actual model.
Yeah.
So what in, do you want to get in specifics? What's the overarching, where did it start? Where did you start realising?
Well, I guess,
bugs you the most?
Well, I guess ties into, just the idea of Marxism. So Marx...
Okay. Do you want to explain maybe?
Yeah, Marx was not a communist or whatever else. He was just a kind of, philosopher, journalist, and he was critiquing capitalism. That's literally what he was doing. He was kind of critiquing it. And through that, he kind of came up with different frameworks of what things might look like if we kind of address the negative things that are present in capitalism.
Okay.
And at the time, there were a lot of people kind of trying to discuss, what is the next thing? Because right now, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people that were kind of discussing it were rather, I guess, naive in the sense that this is the morals that we should, be striving towards. And this is a system that we need. But in real life, that won't work out. So he was also, very cognizant of the economy. And he was like, look, this is the issue. And this is how we need to try and at least fix it. And so that therein kind of lies his works of, Capital, the Communist Manifesto, etc., etc. But really, it's just a framework to critique capitalism.
Right.
And I think, especially now, the way that we're going, especially just with, tech and everything else, and, the great disparity between the most poor and the most rich and just countries, I think it's getting to the point where I think it's important to have this discussion. And so that's where I'm at the moment.
Right. Okay. It's interesting. Yeah, I thought for some reason I thought you just have like a whole agenda where you'd be like, no, this is what we need.
No.
So I guess no one really knows.
No,
the answer,
there's no answer, but I think we can't find an answer if we're so like the gubby cushy gubby gum, just
happy to not. Yeah.
And I honestly don't think if you actually question anyone about just the standards of living for them and then generally and everything else, I don't think anyone's going to say that everything's perfect. We love life but I don't think people stop.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I don't think people stop to think this is literally a kind of starting point is capitalism that has led to X, Y, Z.
Yeah, but then obviously it brings a lot of great people make a lot of money. Like you said, the disparity between rich and poor. Why would rich people care?
Well,
why would anyone care?
Well, and therein lies the problem. It's the rich people that have so much money and wealth and subsequent influence that is dictating everything.
Yeah, but is it their fault that they have that money?
It's not
like if you work hard and you get the money. It's like, well, should I give it away?
I think that though is the perfect. See, you're doing perfect right now. See, that is the mindset.
Don't appreciate the condescension.
No. It's like the perfect like segue to say that.
Right. I'm just talking.
No, but I think that's the idea of it. You know, you work hard. You know, you do the right things, and you can be rich as well.
Or have a comfortable lifestyle. Maybe rich is the wrong word because very few people are rich.
Yeah, but I don't think that's true. I think
there's another way to do it.
No, I think there's inequities that are so set in society that not everyone has the opportunity to just try hard, work hard, and
a lot of
you'll be okay.
Yeah. What's that phrase? The American dream? That's pretty much it, right?
Well,
where it's like everyone, you can basically say it's a capitalist dream. Well, everyone has that vision.
Exactly.
Well, and everyone who wants to.
Like, you just work hard and, you just stone it, avo toast, and do this, do that. And it's not a realistic thing. I think it's a kind of middle-class dream.
People do have it. A lot of people get it.
Do they, though?
Our parents, they got it.
Are they genuinely enjoying their life?
Well, I mean,
and the work that they do?
Well, this is the other thing. Now you've done really well. You brought it to work. Because we were talking about before, I just wonder what episode it is. We've got so many now, double figures. It was that, what was I saying? The work. It's, how are they meant to enjoy when they've come here for a different reason? Well, it's our generation's job to start to enjoy work, right?
And is our generation enjoying work?
Well, I mean, for the people who are working, I don't know.
I think 90% of people are probably miserable at their job. And that is, again, the Marxist critique of, the disparity between the manufacturer, the workers, and then the people that own the capital. Okay. So, we've reframed it, we've reworded it, but really a lot of, Marxist kind of commentators describe it in the sense of it's still slavery. It's, you have a boss, you are working for a specific wage, and then they decide what we're going to do with the surplus that you have produced. Yeah. And then most of that then goes into their pocket, and then they decide where to distribute it.
You're not wrong. And I did have these thoughts, and I do have those thoughts. And that's why I didn't want to be stuck in an office job for 9 to 5. I didn't realize at the time what I was saying, like what had a word to it or anything. I'm not saying I am going down that route, but it's just like, I want to enjoy the life.
Well, and the thing is, you can't. So
unless you do, like, people who, like, do creatives are very different. Because you don't have that whole boss, do they?
No, because how many creatives are allowed to be creative and do their...
creators. So, like, YouTube, entertainers, radio presenters.
How many people do that? What's the percentage that do that?
Well, that's what issue I'm talking about as well. Is like, you don't have to have that 9 to 5 dream.
But you do, in the sense that if you just decide, all right, I'm going to quit my job and just do this full time, the chances are you're not probably going to make enough income to actually support yourself, pay the rent, pay the bills, look after yourself.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so there's a lot of, creators that probably have a lot of potential, but they're confined into their 9 to 5 because that's what you actually need to do to survive. And so imagine all the possibilities and all the creative things that we're missing out on because those people have given up because I need to pay my bills. I need to pay my rent. I don't think there's any kind of avenue through capitalism where we're allowed to just be our true selves and our true creatives and enjoy ourselves.
I think for a majority of the people, no, but I think it's because it's the way of thinking for them is, well, you go through school, right? and then you have like, so in year 10, like, what are you gonna do? I don't know. But your dad did this IT and lawyers. I'll do it. I'll follow that. And then you're right. A lot of people probably. I mean, I don't think many people will be happy working 9 to 5, right? But it's the whole point of the thing you're sold on is the 9 to 5 is what you do, so you can enjoy the Friday nights, the Saturdays, the Sundays,
And
the
that's
holidays.
a capitalistic lie.
Well, but people do have that enjoyment, don't they? Like,
And so,
they work to either people. Thing is, a lot of people. Some people, it's like you do any job, you don't care, because in the end you be home by 5 p.m. and you get to see your kids and all that kind of stuff, right?
so we're sacrificing.
And then other people, I'm saying, who are really into their careers, those people, they might actually be, not so happy is the word, but they're the ones doing 12 hours, 13 hours, billable hours, you know? where
But
it's just-
billable because they're getting more money.
Yeah.
So it's all then again about the money.
Yeah, because they're career orientated.
But we're placing value on just money. And, you know,
Not me. I
No,
couldn't do
not
that.
we, but, you know, like
Those people. Yeah, of course. Because they want that yacht. You know, if I work hard, if I get shit poured down my throat from my boss for 5 years, work 14 hours, whatever it is. I think lawyers, like those kind of jobs, right? They're pretty full on. Doctors as well. And 5 years, I'll have such a good lifestyle. I can actually relax. Maybe they have that. They probably get, I don't feel like we should interview a lawyer.
I think even in that, though, it's like, are you actually allowed to enjoy the time? So the time you have in a day, are you actually allowed to do the things you're really intrinsically want to do?
Of course, but that's the whole issue. Like, if you want to do that, then you have to like go off on like a nice island and get off that lifestyle.
Well, I think the first step would be to have some sort of regulations so we don't have such monopolies and such divides in terms of, you know, tax havens and, you know, the rich just getting richer through, you know, however they do it and, you know, buying out different companies, doing what they want to do. Because at the end of the day, now they are just owning things and then deciding where to distribute that, you know, surplus. And so I think for step one would to be have some sort of regulations. So then there's more small businesses doing the actual passions of, you know, I enjoy this craft. I'm going to do it and try and make it my career. I enjoy this. And so if you think maybe even back to like the person, I don't know what they're called, the person that will like and make like swords and like the ironsmith or whatever.
Oh yeah, locksmith.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like that was their craft. They were good at it. That, you know,
still exists.
No, but like, and then they ended up with all the product and they decided, all right, I'm going to sell to this one, I'm going to do this. And they decided that it's, so there's still a market in the sense that I can sell this, I can do this, but there's not the same level of industry and workers and, you know, big conglomerates.
So your issue is more with like the big business thing.
Well, I think
everything's just being commercialized.
I think it comes down to the capitalist idea, but then like I'm saying, there's this trajectory that then, again, great segue, is that now not only is that leading to issues here, but now that's because, cheaper will be if we go to Bangladesh and, you know, use a factory of, you know, women that aren't allowed any breaks and maybe sometimes even kids because it's not really regulated.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll pay them like literally 2 cents.
Apple.
And, you know, we'll make even larger profits.
Yeah.
Because we can do that.
Yeah. And that's widely known, but everyone still buys the stuff, right?
That's what I'm saying. But then even then, so now it's so far reaching that people back home are now in these kind of situations and it's like, cool. That's just what we have to do though to get better profit margin, better this, better that. And so
they're outsourcing as well, you mean?
Just everything is kind of coming together through this one system of profit margin.
You know, exploitation as well then.
Well, that's literally Marxist's terminology.
Oh, was it?
It's the exploitation of workers.
Yeah.
And
somehow you see those people in a factory being exploited. The people here with like healthcare and Medicare and benefits, I don't see that as exploitation. I guess I do understand that someone told me, they're watching, that you get paid for. That's a good thing.
It was like, I see you.
You get paid for. You don't get paid for your work. No, it's not. Shout out there. He'd be excited if he watches. You brought my point.
Work.
Good. It's always work. Yeah, so you actually don't get paid for your work. The whole point is you get paid for your time there. And that really struck a chord with me because I was It's actually a really good point you mentioned about the exploitation and doing a job because you have to. I was stuck in like a job that I had to do. And I mean, I was at home living rent free, and I've like, someone pointed out to me, that you're wasting like 8-9 hours a day, and you say you're going to do the other stuff that you wanted to do, which is this kind of thing, and create more other stuff as well. It's like, do you actually have the time? I was like, not really. I was like, well, why? Because they're paying you for the use of your time. It's 8 hours in the job, but it's basically, with lockdown over, it's 10 hours because you wake up, maybe 11 hours, come back. So I do get that point.
And that's literally capitalism. Like, you can't have capitalism without exploitation. It doesn't work without exploiting someone somewhere, because the profits won't come unless you're exploiting something.
So I get that point. I just think that it probably right now is the best system we have. I just don't think any other thing sounds a bit too utopian.
Of course, but I think that's because we haven't allowed ourselves to go there. It's because every time you even hear the word Marx, people be like, "Oh, you lefty, oh, you're crazy," and Ben Shapiro hot take. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're not saying that there's this perfect communist world, but I think the system that we're in, where the rich are literally getting so rich that they are deciding elections, they are deciding the way different governments work, how they regulate their factories, how they regulate, like we were talking about Bill Gates before, how they, advocate for bloody patenting seeds, so then the farmers don't have to pay different fertilizer. There's people that have so much money and so much power, and how are we okay with that when there are literally people, even in our country, that don't have a house, that can't afford food, that the divide is so large, and we're just okay with that? Like,
and I used to have those thoughts as well, and then it's kind of bad, but I was just like, well, I need to think for myself now.
In what sense?
I just had to be like, well, that's just how it is. Because when I was
surely
younger,
that's such a...
I mean, younger, I'm not even that young, late teenagers, early 20s maybe, when I was like, that's really, really horrible, and did some work for like some homelessness charity and things like that. And it's like, this is really bad. Like, obviously these people have done nothing wrong, they don't have a place, but it's also like, you got to reward people working hard as well. Because then you get
I
the
think
other
that's
issue is
disingenuous.
like, other people are just like, I'll just sit and chill.
I think that's disingenuous, because then that's putting the people that are already at a low position as they don't work hard, and versus, you should go to work and you should be rewarded for your hard work, and being the slave to this capitalistic master. I don't think that's fair, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity.
So I think what you're talking about is maybe not the actual like Marxist issue, and maybe yours is a bit more, I think you're talking a bit more like the big businesses controlling everything versus the small people who are never going to get up there, and you want that kind of gap to be breached.
But also, so if you even think me and you, so we're middle class.
That's what I was going to point out.
So we're middle class. We're middle class.
Then,
what are the chances that, because I'm just using us as an example, what are the chances that we can create, and we will create, a successful, really well-running, lots of employees, proper business, and, be well off? What's the chances that's going to happen? Like, realistically.
Could if you put if you put your whole life into it.
Sure, but what are the
chances? Get some seed money,
and how many people are doing this, And
people do it. People, they start talking, and then they get
even when the one out of maybe 1,000 success stories, that one has to use exploitation of other workers and other stuff to then have that profit to grow and grow and grow. So the whole system is then built on that exploitation.
So, okay, I can hear your point. So then what's the option? We just let everyone give money to everyone?
No, there's no current...
You want a business, you want a business?
No, there's no current option, but I think we need to at least have this discussion and discourse being like, look, the system that we're at isn't perfect, and shouldn't be the system that we just accept as this is how we are going to live our lives forever.
That's the issue, I think.
I think we need to... And the best alternative that we have is the works from Marx. And it's not to say now let's be all communists, but it's to let's use what he has done, and let's now try and understand and try and figure out how can we best work around this. There's a lot of people doing that now, but I just there's this such a divide.
Of course there is.
And I can't for the life of me understand how we're okay with this divide.
Right. Well, to answer that, maybe it's because you don't see it as much. Here, everyone, I mean, you got, what are we, opposite of F45 training, right? So these guys have gone to work all day in their nice middle-class areas,
Which
houses.
they, by the way, probably hate.
Okay, well, we're not talking about that.
Anyway.
So they've gone F45. They're going to come out, have dinner, sleep. What are they going to do in the meantime? Just check their phone, laugh at funny memes.
Well, so
they don't have. It's not.
So everyone's a zombie, is what you're saying.
Of course they are.
So we're just in the system.
The next topic's great.
We're just in the system.
We are.
We're not critically thinking about.
No, we're not.
What the hell am I doing?
No, we're not.
And
the only people who can do that are the ones you find who have like been who are unemployed, who are doing something where they're not stuck in that 9 to 5. I know we talked about Dave Chappelle before, and he had one quote. It's like, I think just when he came back from Africa, and he's like, 9 to 5, the whole thing is all BS. He's like, how come you don't think it's 9 to 6? Because he'll probably snap. They probably got you right on the edge. It's actually from that special you mentioned. So look, there is, obviously, I agree with that.
I think the Gen Zs,
Who are they? Are they
like the one, the TikTok generation and stuff. I think
right.
they're the ones that, at least from the buzz news that I've been hearing, is that they are having, they won't work for a certain, quality. If like, oh, you're not paying me this, or the hours are bad, or you're treating me wrong.
Oh, wow.
They will quit.
That's so odd for our generation.
There's even articles where they're saying, like, they're telling the HR people, like, no, I want this, or I won't come.
Wow.
There's even, stories of people just not rocking up to interviews, and HR's are like, oh, what the hell?
Okay, that's
they didn't even respond to me. And it's like, yeah, you don't respond to us. And so there's this whole generation now where they're not accepting this. And I think, we'll slowly...
Well, maybe it's that. Maybe it's just that the younger generation now, because... I don't want to big ourselves up, because of all our hard work, and maybe start to question a few things. Maybe those guys are in such a good position where they can now be like...
Oh, of course.
Like I said, like the younger generations, they're basically better at recognizing that the food they eat is much better. Like they actually read what's on the packaging, their clothing, they're very sustainable.
They're conscious about it.
Ethical. So that's definitely...
they're better than us. And we're not going to get out of capitalism now.
In terms of that, of course they're not.
Yeah, it'll be the next generation or the generation
after that. It could happen where
you're
right, like people...
it's going to happen.
We couldn't imagine not going to an interview,
100% it's happening.
You reckon?
It's happening. It's every system ends. There's no system that has just continued. Before capitalism, it was kind of feudalism or, the monarch, where they would go, collect the taxes, and then after that, we had, the revolution and then, workers.
So
and
in our lifetime, you don't think it's going to change?
No, but I'm saying they'll definitely change. And
not in our lifetime.
I would hope it will, just because, we even have like the climate change summit and everything else, but it's like, but the economy
very slow.
But this and it's like, bro, we need to fix this, or...
So he's basically saying then don't worry because people are younger than us are doing it anyway.
Well, no,
or do you still want to be a pioneer?
I'm saying it's going to come to the point where is this going to break and people are going to... Is this going to explode?
Yeah, and I think it'll probably be for the climate change. That'll probably be the quickest... because you saw that, was it last year, that protest for climate change? It was all school kids. Remember that? It was huge in here.
Go Greta.
That's what everyone started...
She's amazing.
Everyone started realising it, this country, probably a few others, are like, wow, these young people aren't just like on their phones all the time. They're very serious about trying to save the world they live in, right?
Yeah. Well,
maybe that will change.
And it's like, but we need to take it slow and electric cars and the economy. And it's like, so everything, even like, privatized schools, privatized education, we're literally even privatizing our basic human needs just because, it's the economy and our profits and it's like, it's not a good place to be. And then when we were talking about even I forgot the name, ADHD.
House of Secrets?
That's one. Where we were talking about like how to us it's just normal because we've been there, we've seen that.
Oh,
but to other people, like
mind blowing.
And there's such a disparity, and it's just like we can't just be okay with all this just because money. And I feel like we need to have more conversations and more just like, I'm not going to accept these. I'm not going to accept this working. I'm not going to accept these standards. I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to. I'm going to put my phone away and not worry about this. I'm not going to let Mark Zuckerberg ruin our society. Is this like all these different things that
new topic?
I just want better. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm in this utopian, naive mind state. But
well, I mean, yeah, because that's what I thought I was in a few years ago. where it's just like, oh, it's just the way it is. Just shut up and try and get a job or something.
Mm.
And yeah, because I'd be like, well, I have to take care of myself eventually. But it's a tough one, and you want better. Start with Meta.
Want better. I want we got to talk about that.
We will.
Zuckerberg, and that's like, they're ruining everything. Anyway,
that is interesting, man. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like we can keep going for this one.
But
let's do it a little bit.
Yeah, you want to keep going?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I feel like we want to make a bit of a point with that.
Well, the point is quite clear. This is not the system, and we just need to hold people accountable.
Well, like you said, no system. And when maybe in 150 years when this one collapses, the next system's not going to be perfect as well.
Oh no, not at all.
Because everyone will be like, oh, or whatever.
But see, we talk about like how bad if we're just using communists versus capitalists right now, and we say how bad they are, and like all the deaths and all this and that. Are you just putting a blind eye to all the imperialist wars and all the capitalistic things?
Bad and good of everything.
No, but I'm saying we talk about how bad communism and socialism is, but then it's like capitalism is literally no better. It just is that because then you at the end of the day have money to buy X, Y, Z. You're complacent.
You're happy.
But
complacent's a very good word.
It's just
maybe everyone's just living in that complacency. And usually people are, because like you said, everyone at any given time, in a society where people are going to be, right? Like at Monday to Friday, there will be traffic peak at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., because everyone's in that thing. And then it's funny when you go for like walks or something, or you're just out at like an odd time of the day, you'll see very different people out, because about to be tradies, because they're just like the working hours are just like they go crazy or whatever they have to do, and people who are just a bit older. So yeah, everyone's in like I had to think like a maze, everyone's in their own little house section. Yeah, but I guess from the inside, I was just like, well, this is what it is. I either have to keep thinking about, oh, this is terrible, or try and make it work inside the system, and that's what I've been trying.
Yeah, but see, then again,
I mean, you work, right?
No, but then again, it's like an individualistic kind of thing where it's like,
of course,
because I can't help other people and save it, I got to at least work on myself so then I don't get stuck in that loop as well. But
yeah, well,
but we're I think we need to also remember, like, we're a community, we're a one conscious kind of collective, and
but this is the thing, I don't think we are anymore.
And that's because of capitalism.
We have detached so much. A lot of things. What's a phone?
But it's based in capitalism. Literally everything comes from this capitalistic...
It's scary. Social media is the one, to be honest, for me, where it's like, you see people on the street and then, oh, shit, I went to school with that guy. That's so cool. Anyway, but people are believing their truth so much more because they're seeing it everywhere, right? And everyone has, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has... there is a divide happening. So I don't think we're becoming more selfish. And maybe the generation under us are better.
I don't think we need to remember that.
I hope they are.
But that's why, even, like, I always try and tie it back to, like, our kind of theme and stuff. But, like, when we talk about, like, we're Indian. And, you were born here, I was born there, but we're, I guess, Australian Indian.
Yeah, pretty much.
But when we talk about these experiences, we talk about, the brown, diaspora experience. And, we understand that, people have shared experiences, and you keep branching out. I think we can understand and accept that we're all part of this one kind of community. And I don't think it's okay, which I guess capitalism instills in us, that, you can only look after yourself because that's all you can do. But I think you can't consciously walk past like a household and kind of see the situation that's going on and be like, yeah, they should, get off the dole and do work. It's like, that's so disingenuous to their experience and the structured, how it's a cycle where, if you're born and you're stuck, right? It's just like, and I just feel like, come on, like.
Yeah, I think, well, that's the sad thing, is your way of thinking probably is the least recognized thinking. You know what I mean? You're fighting the tide in terms of that thinking.
But why?
Well, yeah, because everyone, like you said, everyone's selfish. Everyone is inherently selfish, right? And the people who are doing like charity or work with people who are disadvantaged, we look at them so like, oh, how do they do it? Amazing people. Maybe in a few 100 years, it'll be the switch where it'll be like the people who look at themselves like, wow, how can they do this? This is amazing. Like, how do they have the time to invest in themselves so much? We care about everyone, right?
Well, and that's I think the goal. You know, the
That's
Marxist
utopia,
but
you
the
reckon?
Marx, well, not even a utopia, but I think Marxism in that, you know, and even now because the revolution of, you know, industrial revolution, all the technology that we have, we don't all need to be working 45 hours a week, killing ourselves.
And the COVID's brought that
for
about as well.
The tiniest
Yeah.
wage, when you think about
Yeah.
the rising cost of living, houses, we won't be able to afford a house.
Nah.
You know, like
No.
the whole system is against us because it's helping the rich get richer. You know, the landlords that have enough money to buy another house, another house, another house.
Investing.
It's just, you know, I think with all this technology and everything, we don't all need to be working so hard all the time. And I think we can
point.
work towards a system in that we can be our true selves and enjoy what we want to do. So those creatives that are now doing, you know, a law degree or whatever else because they decide that's, you know, the best path forward,
This is what I have to do.
they're stunting what is intrinsically
Of
in
course,
them that could
because
potentially,
society is not geared to help the creatives,
you know, like
compared to the
if you think about
logical
every
or something.
revolution, we got so much richness out of that in terms of art and music and culture because it allowed people to then be truly expressive. And I think everything in this system is only working for the top 100 people that are seeing the actual benefits and who are then putting everyone else quiet. Like, you know,
top
we talk about,
and maybe middle as
we
well.
talk about Bill Gates, we talk about Jeffrey Epstein. You know,
Yeah.
they had a whole pedophile ring.
Well, don't put Bill Gates in that same name.
They had a allegedly entire pedophile ring.
Well, just Jeffrey though.
Yeah, but everyone came there, and people are saying, and
everyone.
and now it's all hush hush. Nothing's happening. Prince Andrew's involved, and because why? Because there's so much money. There's so much. It's
people,
and we're we're in the society where bloody
okay
like
with that.
Julian Assange, a whistle like he.
Yeah,
we're okay with like put him in jail. You know, we
You're
can't.
right.
It just nothing makes sense.
No,
It just and
you had the time to think about it and actually realize it, right?
nothing makes sense.
Yeah, nothing does. Of course, that's what this place you're in. Like, it's
But we can
it's
do
a
better.
rat race.
We can do better.
Of course we can. But
And
who's
we're
gonna send the
going
time?
over 35 minutes. I don't want to but
Yeah.
just a quick little point is that
Yeah, well-
in Kerala,
Okay.
in India, they have a Marxist state government. And they've had it for a very long time
Yeah,
now.
really?
And if you look at the health stats, the education stats, the
Really?
quality of life stats in Kerala versus, you know, other parts of India, you will be astonished.
Really?
And it's not to say it's a perfect place, and it's, you know, there's not
very
anything bad
beautiful,
happening, but just the way it's set up because of the principles that they don't allow capitalistic aims to dictate everything,
Really?
we see better standards of living. Even in a place like India where there is such, you know.
Yeah. That's
So
surprising.
I just feel like we need to look at these examples and look at what's already happening and the carnage that is caused by capitalistic, imperialistic wars and ideas and think, hey, we can do better. Me and you can do better. They can do better.
That's true.
Raj, Mish, Sarah,
Wow.
we can do better. And I know you can do better.
That's good.
And everyone else, all the other watchers that aren't subscribed, you probably should subscribe because it's a very personal
this is a very good
experience
one.
that we have.
That's a
So
good one. All right, I think I might have to end it there.
I think it's gone for too long. No one's going to watch with Marxist in the title.
No, I'll take it out.
We might get some new comments
I'll take it out.
of, you
Yeah.
know, bloody,
Yeah.
anyway.
Sigma. Yeah, we might.
Anyway, I guess that's a take. That's just,
Yeah, I reckon we can keep going for like a next week or something.
we
like this.
really could, but
'Cause I feel like there's a lot more. Anyway,
anyway,
to be fair.
that's just me ranting. Sorry,
Yeah,
I probably cut
been
you
a
off
good
like
one.
100 times, but
Yeah, I did that last video. What you're passionate about, right? That's what it's about. We're being fair. We're listening. All right.
we can do better.
See you guys.